What a be Timus here. Here is my Throwback segment where I talk about the films at 10, 20, and 30. Alright, the films celebrating their 10th anniversary. Oh boy, this is a doozy here. We got Alfonso Cuarón's sci-fi film Gravity, starring Sandra Bullock and George Clooney as astronauts who stranded in space after their mid-orbit destruction of their space shuttle in an attempt to recruit to Earth. Gravity is terrific. Of course, the movie did score lots of Oscars. I believe it scored a nomination for Best Picture, if I'm not mistaken. I believe if I'm not yeah, Alfonso Cuarón also won his first directing nomination for that. Of course, he will go on to win for Roma. Alfonso Cuarón is a really terrific director. I mean, going like obviously, Children of Men is a great one. Harry Potter: The Prisoner of Azkaban, maybe my favorite film of his. Maybe my favorite Harry Potter movie in general, but still. Sandra Bullock is terrific. You have George Clooney is, but obviously a bit of a spoiler. He's barely in the movie because well his character goes bye bye. But yeah, it's really intriguing. The visuals is stunning. I remember watching this one in 3D. I was stunned of how beautiful this thing looked. I mean, the space it really did look like we were going in outer space with Sandra Bullock, and it's a really intriguing film. Like if you guys never watched Gravity, do yourself a favor, go watch it. It is a really fantastic film. Now, a film that is not fantastic, we got Runner, starring Ben Affleck, Justin Timberlake, the late great John Hurt, Anthony Mackie, Gemma Arterton. Now, this Now, if you guys don't know much about the story of Runner, when a poor college student who cracks an online poker game goes bust, he arranges a face to face with the man who he thinks is cheating him. And this is not that great a film at all. I mean, Justin Timberlake, you know what? I think Justin Timberlake is a really decent actor. I mean, obviously, whenever you think of Justin Timberlake, you always think of like NSYNC, his music career and everything. But you know, when Justin Timberlake really wants to really wants to try, he can really be a really good actor. Like I thought he was great in the movie Alpha Dog, Black Snake Moan, Social Network. I even thought he could have got an Oscar nomination for that recent movie he did on Apple called Palmer, I think it was called. He was great in that. Fortunately, I just saw Reptile just recent. Not that great there. And of course, you have him like teaming up with Ben Affleck, who's always great too. This is just a really piss poor film. It's terrible. It doesn't really make much sense. It's really bad. Sadly, Ben Affleck, like I think Ben Affleck is great too, and this was also coming off of Ben Affleck's Oscar win with Argo. So seeing him go from that to something like this was a little disappointing. To see, but hey, it's not as bad as a Julia, obviously, but it's still not that great a film. All right. And top off, it was directed by Brad Furman, who also gave us the movie The Lincoln Lawyer, like 2 years prior. Lincoln Lawyer is the Lincoln Lawyer movie was great, but anyway, also turning 10 is a film that not many people talk about. It's called Parkland. Parkland is from the same guy who gave us that Will Smith concussion movie a couple years ago, and this is a really intriguing story. Parkland pretty much weaves together the perspectives of a handful of ordinary individuals selling drugs into extraordinary circumstances, and the young doctors and nurses at Parkland Hospital. Um, and of course, this movie is pretty much about like the assassination of JFK and and it does take place at like the Parkland Hospital where JFK sadly passed. And the bystander who like captures what became the most home movie in history. Uh, and the cast, by the way, is terrific. Like we're talking Zach Efron, Billy Bob Thornton, Jackie O'Haley, Tom Welling was in this, David Harbour, Jackie Weaver, Paul Giamatti, uh, James Badgedale. I mean, the cast in this is intriguing. And we've already always seen like stories about about JFK, whether it's like Oliver Stone's JFK, whether it's like real channels the Kennedys. But I feel like this was a really intriguing one that talked about more about. It's not even a movie about JFK itself. It's more about like the people who witnessed the tragic event that day, and it's actually really powerful. Maybe not as good as the movie Bobby, which was about the assassination of Robert F. Kennedy, but I still thought it was a really decent, well put together film. So if you guys never seen Parkland, give that one a go. All right, now films turning 20 this week. We got, oh wow, School of Rock, starring Jack Black. Of course, here he plays the struggling rock guitarist Dewey Finn, who is fired from his band and subsequently poses as like a substitute teacher at his prestigious prep school. And he witnesses like the musical talent of his students, and he forms a band of fourth graders who attempt to win the battle of the band. You of course have the likes of Sarah Silverman, Joan Cusack, Miranda Cosgrove. School of Rock is terrific. Like the music is great. Jack Black is terrific in this. The humor is pretty decent. Directed by Richard Linklater, who of course gave us stuff like the Before trilogies. Of course, he gave us like a Boyhood, Days of Confused, which I talked about last week. This is definitely one of his best films there too. It's really funny. It's has lots of heart to it. Jack Black's chemistry with these kids, I thought was terrific. I mean, really shows Jack Black's music talent wonderfully in this. Like, if you guys never really seen School Rock, do yourself a favor, go watch it. It's a shame they never really gave a like did a sequel. To be honest, like they were talking about a sequel, but hey, at least the TV show, we had a TV show, which wasn't so bad by the way. Alright. Now, other films celebrating 20. Uh, we got we got the Denzel Washington film Out of Sight. Now, this movie was directed by Carl Franklin, who also directed who also directed Denzel in The Devil in a Blue Dress, and he also recently directed episodes of that recent Jeffrey Dahmer series that premiered last year. And this film stars Denzel Washington as Matt Lee Whitlock, who is this respected chief of police in small Baden Key, Florida, must solve a vicious double homicide before he himself falls under suspicion. Matt has to stay a few steps ahead of his own police force and everyone he's trusted in order to find the path to the truth. You also got the likes of Ava Mendes and Lathan. Dean Kane was in this. It's a pretty fun, it's not really Denzel's best work, nothing like that. But it is a pretty fun film worth checking out. Denzel's chemistry with Ava Mendes is really great. Sanaa Lathan, who I believe plays his wife in this, was really great. I mean, it's been a while since I've seen Outside, to be honest. But the action is pretty good. Denzel's always great. So if you guys haven't seen it, definitely get that one, yeah. All right. Also turning 20, we got the true story film Wonderland, directed by James Cox, starring Val Kilmer, Kate Bosworth, Dylan McDermott, the late great Carrie Fisher, Christina Applegate, Janine Garofalo, Tim Blake Nelson, and this does star Val Kilmer as a role of John Holmes, who's the famous Adele film star and suspected accomplice in four grisly murders committed at a house at a Wonderland Avenue. And this is a really intriguing one. I mean, Val Kilmer, definitely one of his best performances. I like the cast list. I like Lisa Kudrow was great in this. Christina Applegate was great. I mean, I remember watching this. I didn't really know too much about the true story at the time, and hearing like it is crazy to believe how much of a true story this is. But it is a really fascinating one. I mean, It's a shame Val Kilmer, can't really do much anymore. But I tell you one thing, he was always great. Like with stuff like Batman Forever. Of course, The Doors was great, and this is definitely one of his best performances too. Like it's a shame that Val Kilmer did not really get much Oscar love, but he was really magnificent in this one. All right. Also turning 20, we got The Station Agent, directed by Tom McCarthy, who also would go on to direct stuff like the Adam Sandler movie The Cobbler. He also put out the Oscar-winning film Spotlight. He's done some really decent stuff before too. Now, this film starts a cast that includes Peter Dinklage, which I guess you could say this was really Peter Dinklage's breakout role before like Game of Thrones fame and everything. You also have the likes of Patricia Clarkson, Michelle Williams, Bobby Cannavale, and John Slattery. And in it, Peter Dinklage plays a man who seeks solitude in an abandoned train station in a newfound section of Township, New Jersey. It also Patricia Clarkson was of course great in this. Bobby Cannavale is great. It is really interesting character study film. One of Peter Dinklage's best performances there. Uh, yeah, I believe this was actually even his like first feature. I could be mistaken there, but of course Peter Dinklage will going to have an interesting career. Pretty much like a couple months later, he will go on to appear in the movie Elf. Of course, he'll obviously be in Game of Thrones. He has that new movie coming out with Anne Hathaway in it. She came to me. He's of course in the Toxic Avenger, which I can't wait for her. But this is definitely one of the best performances he's ever put out. Like, it's a shame he never really got an Oscar nomination for this, but hey, can't get not everyone can get an Oscar nomination out there. So, all right, now films turning 30. Got a lot of ones here. I'm gonna try to teach you majority of them. We of course got A Bronx Tale, directed by directed and starring Robert De Niro in his directorial debut, by the way. So I always found out that this was actually his first time he went on behind the camera. But hey, he's worked with Scorsese tons of times, so he definitely knows the thing about the cameras there. Anyway, now Bronx Tale also stars the likes of Chaz Palminteri, Francis Capra, Joe Pesci, and if you guys don't know much about the story here, it is adapted from Chaz Palminteri's 1989 play of the same name. It tells a coming-of-age story of an Italian-American boy, Caligaro, who, after encountering a local mafia boss, is torn between the temptations of an organized crime and the values of honor his hardworking fathers and his attentions. And it was actually like there was even like a Broadway play, a revival here that was actually I actually never seen it, but I heard some nice stuff about it. Um, A Bronx Tale with Chester Palminteri is terrific. Like the performances, the one who plays the kid I thought was great. De Niro's amazing. I used to always thought this was a Scorsese film, but it's actually pretty much De Niro's film, and you can definitely tell what type of influence Scorsese had on De Niro, because that's why I always felt like this was a Scorsese film. Like I don't even think Scorsese actually ever even. I don't think he had anything to do with this, but hey, De Niro's of course great. Chaz Palminteri, I feel like is an actor who barely gets talked about. He's done some great stuff. Let me post some of his credits. Like I'm talking about the Suspect he was in. What was I don't remember what else he was in. Why did he say yes to Oogie Loves is beyond me, but hey, you need the money. Why did he say yes to Gotti? Hey. All right, not everything. He was great in Modifying. But hey, I gotta eat, I guess. But that aside, A Bronx Tale obviously is maybe his best work on his resume. It's really intriguing. The mafia aspect is decent, and of course, I'm pretty much a little biased because I'm pretty much Italian, so there's that. But if you guys never watch A Bronx Tale, definitely give that one a go. All right. Also turning 30, we got Cool Runnings, directed by John Turteltaub, who will go on to direct National Treasure and The First Meg. This also stars the late great John Kennedy. Oh God, I miss John Kennedy. Leon Robinson, Dougie Doug, Malik Yoba, and it is loosely based on the debut of the Jamaican national bobsleigh team of the 1988 Winter Olympics. And you have John Kennedy, who plays former Olympian Irving Blitzer, who coaches a novice four men bobsled team from Jamaica, led by Splinter Darius Bonnock, played by Robinson. Cool Runnings is terrific. I mean, John Kennedy. God, I miss John Kennedy. I mean, obviously, yes, he was way ahead of my time. But even when I was a kid, I used to always get a kick out of John Kennedy's work. Whether you talk about like Uncle Buck, whether you talk about planes, trains, and automobiles. And this film definitely had some fun humor, but it was really more heartfelt than most of John Kennedy's starring vehicles. And he was just magnificent. His chemistry with his players was great. Yeah, Dougie Fresh. No, Dougie Doug. I always keep calling him Dougie Fresh. Two different Dougies there. But Dougie Doug, I always thought was great. It's a shame that he doesn't really do much anymore, but he was terrific. Malik Yoba was great. I mean, it's really a treat. Cool underdog story here. John Kennedy just nails it out of the park every inch. So if you've never seen Cool Runnings, definitely give that one a go. All right. Also turning 30, we got Shortcuts, directed by iconic director Robert Altman, who of course gave us stuff like like Popeye. Let me pull up some of his other credits. Like Robert Altman has some great. Oh yeah, he also gave us Mash. He gave us like Company, Gosford Park, The Gingerbread Man, Cookie's Fortune. Talk about really cool career he's had. If you guys don't know much about Shortcuts, this has a great cast that includes the likes of Matthew Modine, Julianne Moore, Fred Ward, Jennifer Jason Leigh, Robert Downey Jr., Madeline Stowe, Annie Ross, Huey Lewis was in this, Lyle Lovett, Tom Waits, Jack Lemmon, Chris Penn, Francis McDormand. I mean, Buck Henry. The list goes on and on. Like, this is maybe one of the best casts of the 90s, probably. And it is, of course, a film from a screenplay by Altman and is inspired by 9 short stories and a poem by Raymond Carver. The film has a LA setting, which is substituted for the Pacific Northwest backdrop of Carver's stories. And Shortcuts traces the actions of 22 principal characters, both in parallel and the occasional loose points of connections. And the stories in this was intriguing. Robert Altman, definitely one of his best work there. The cast is magnificent. I believe Robert Altman's last movie, if I'm not mistaken, was probably A Perry Home Companion with Lindsay Lohan. So you guys gotta watch some Robert Altman movies, like from the likes of Mash to Popeye to Shortcuts. He was always a really iconic filmmaker, and this definitely one of his best work right there. So definitely give Shortcuts a go if you guys never seen that. All right, now these are the ones I'm just gonna speed past. We got Mr. Wonderland, Mr. Wonderful, which stars Matt Dillon, Annabelle Scarola, Mary Louise Parker, William Hurt, Francis Vincent D'Onofrio. Directed by Anthony Minghella, who gave us Town of Miss Ripley, The English Patient, and it in an attempt to end Almany playing as a working class man tries to set up his ex-wife with potential husbands. It's a really decent little rom-com. Anthony Minghella, I think, is a very underrated filmmaker there is. His best is probably Talented Mr. Ripley with Matt Damon, so give that one a go. His son, by the way, also is It's also Max Miguel who was in Spiral, so has some nice family dynamics there. But yeah, this is a nice little film. You guys haven't seen that. All right. We also got M Butterfly, which is a rom com, which is a rom dramedy directed by David Cronenberg. Of course, the guy who gave us body horror movies such as The Fly. Um, of course, he just gave us Crimes of the Future. Now, if you guys don't know much about M Butterfly, it stars it stars Jeremy Irons, and in it, the story is loosely based on the true events which involved French diplomat Manon Broscott and Chinese opera singer Chi Pa Pu. Now, this was an interesting film for David Cronenberg because David Cronenberg, like I said, has always been more known for doing very weird body horror based films. From the likes of The Fly, Crimes of the Future. Uh, to of course the movie Crash, Dead Ringers, A History of Violence. So seeing him go out of his comfort zone and doing like a romantic drama like this was interesting to see. It was like maybe let's say Wes Craven doing that Meryl Streep movie, Music of the Heart. So it's always interesting seeing like these type of directors try their hands at directing something very different here. And Jeremy Irons was actually like this is not let's say David Cronenberg's best work. I mean, The Fly is probably his best work. Shocker and all. I mean, Videodrome. He's done some better films, but this is still really a trained film. I mean, Jeremy Irons is great in this. John Lone is great. I mean, really decent film, guys. I'm saying. All right. Also turning dirty, we got the movie Malice. It's directed by Harold Becker, written by Aaron Sorkin, starring Alec Baldwin, Nicole Kidman, George C. Scott, Anne Bancroft, Bill Pullman. The plot follows Andy and Tracy Sapphire, a newlywed couple whose lives are upturned after they rent part of their Victorian home to Jet, a caviar surgeon. Things are further complicated, and when he removes Tracy's ovaries during an emergency power to save her. The film also features Liza BB Newhart, Jigsaw himself, Tobin Bell, Peter Gallagher, Gwyneth Paltrow, and Brandon Strong. Now, this is a really intriguing one here. Of course, Alec Baldwin and Nicole Kidman was pretty decent. This is a very interesting story here. I mean, I never really read the story, uh, but like the plot is very, let's say intriguing. And this is directed by Harold Becker, who's done other stuff too. He also did stuff like Sea of Love, Taps, City Horror, Domestic Disturbance, Mercury Rising. So yeah, I mean, really good filmmaker there. So it's a really crazy, like some crazy twists and turns around too. I mean, if you guys never really seen Malice, give it a go. Really decent little Joe Rider there. But that's pretty much it. Let me lead you guys. Which of these films stand out to you the most? To me, the 10-year one obviously is Gravity. The 20-year one is School of Rock. And the 30-year one is A Bronx Tale. Drop comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell for notification. This is Samuel signing off.